I think they're all controlled opposition, but we can get into that. All right, so I just hit record. Welcome everyone to the Psychotherapist Podcast. Malcolm Clancy here, and my co-host,
Dr. Bob here. Buenos dias.
All right. Pineal gland engaged. Let's go. Okay. So, for our audience, we had just a few agenda items for each of us. For Sir Bobber, it's pretty routine psychological checkup on me, and for my agenda, I had a few items, including how my family thinks I'm an alt-right neo-Nazi.
Okay.
With no bearing on reality.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little tidbit how AOC might be a CIA plant.
Okay.
And, of course, Yeezy, Ye, Kanye, the second coming of Hitler. A lot to talk about there, so let's go.
And is there any possibility that people would not know who we're talking about?
Kanye West? I mean, the thing is, by the time this podcast is actually going to be released, it'll probably be old news, but I mean, that's on everyone's radar. Everyone's got an opinion on that one.
Right.
You know, right now. And including certain figures that I usually like and follow, like Charlemagne the God, saying it's like Hitlerian white supremacy stuff. You know, and I gotta just push back a little bit on that and all these things. But yeah, I think a lot of people are very aware of the situation as far as they know that Ye's going after the Jews.
Okay. And even AOC, you and I here on the East Coast, you know, the enlightened elitists, so to speak, know all about this stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of people from here to the West Coast have no friggin' clue and could care less about AOC and people like that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a good thing. But at the same time, she is the most popular, well, popular's not the right word, let's say renowned figure in politics. In my very limited research, and part of my suspicion of why she might be a CIA plant is just how much she immediately blew up in the media the second she stepped on stage. And I came across this Time article about just basically a giant puff piece about how great she is and all this stuff. She's really hot, and I think the CIA knows how to leverage looks. I think every spy agency acknowledges that factor. She's easily the hottest member of the squad by far.
Well, that's not saying much, because the squad doesn't, you know.
Exactly, but, you know.
None of them are going to make the centerfold on Playboy, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know. In 2022, they might have a shot.
Right.
You know, I might have a shot getting on Playboy.
Right,
just put me in a woman's fucking one piece, bro.
Right.
I got this.
Yeah.
But yeah, her absolute sort of media dominance, I just can't help but wonder that she had a good team, because she does, based off this Time article and other things that I've seen, she does gaming on the Twitch, she does like makeup and lip gloss, she does all these different like little things that I can't help but wonder are either pushed by the algorithms or that they know that the algorithms are geared towards these things anyway to boost her popularity. Just let's take the Twitter example. You know, I was listening to people talk about it last night, and all of a sudden, you know, some people have lost a lot of followers and some people have gained a lot of followers, and you just can't help but wonder how many of those were fucking robots and fake accounts.
Exactly.
And things that were basically made to create the illusion of consensus, maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, between that and hearing AOC is a shit bartender and different things, I have a strong suspicion, but I haven't found really compelling evidence yet, so I'm leaving it in the theory box for now. But it makes total sense to me. I totally kind of believe it, and I think, you know, she's controlled opposition to gin up. You know, she started off working for Bernie Sanders and like the sort of point of that is to get the youth with these sort of high-minded ideas of, you know, Medicare for all, and get them all excited, get them out to vote, and then, you know, actually support the complete opposite once they're elected. And one thing I should mention before I forget is I did come across one article. It was World Socialist website, so take that with a bit of salt.
World Socialist website, okay.
Yeah, that's a news site that has come up. I've seen, like, when I was working on Flint stuff.
God bless you.
Thank you. And they're just very kind of like Jimmy Dore. My impression is they're very Jimmy Dore-ish in that they're socialists who hate the Democrats, basically.
Okay.
So they're attacking sort of them from the left. But I saw this interesting article where apparently she donated, I think it was like around $170,000 to 32 Democratic candidates who apparently all were ex-CIA, ex-intelligence officials, ex-defense people. Like, you know, the point of this article from what I skimmed is that, you know, she was the quote-unquote anti-war, you know, stand up for the, like, whatever, justice, BS, whatever, and she's done nothing but vote for war and support it. And, you know, she's even been called out, like we've seen that clip of that guy getting really heated about how nuclear war is going to kill us all, thanks AOCIA, you know.
She looks like a warmonger, talks like a warmonger.
You know, so I don't know,
but you went to BU, which is like cognitive dissonance, you know.
What do you mean?
I mean that there are not a lot of warmongers at BU. If you look at, there are a lot of liberals. Totally, BU's by the most liberal college in Boston. People think it's Harvard, but it's not. It's BU.
Yeah.
And she did go to BU. You know, there's a lot of room for liberals on that campus.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of BU, as long as we're on the subject, did you hear about their gain-of-function research?
I know that they're doing some interesting research, but I did not know about it until I saw it in the paper this week, or read it on the news or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand who on earth thought it was a great idea to combine the hyper-deadly version of coronavirus with the hyper-spreadable version of coronavirus. I mean, apparently it's a little misleading, the whole, like, 80% fatality rate, because it was just tested on mice. I don't know how many mice either, and, like, how much that translates to humans. But I also heard a conspiracy theory. It may actually be true that these mRNA, these COVID vaccines were basically tested on a bunch of mice, and then that was considered sufficient enough for human release. And good old Alex Stein, Ronnie the Rat, you know, saying he's pissed he wasn't one of the mice that Fauci tested the vaccine on. I love that guy. You saw that clip of him on Penn State?
Yeah.
That's like my dream. I'll know I've made it when an entire college campus comes out to spit on me and say they wish I was aborted.
Right.
But, I mean, I would approach it a little differently. Like, it works great for Alex Stein. They're just like, wow, you little pussies, like, whatever. But I would just be like, oh, my fans are here, guys. We're stopping white supremacy together. I, like, pretend to be on their side and shit because they got white supremacy signs. I'd be like, I got nothing wrong with that.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are we even arguing about? You know? But I just love that he has zero fear in the face of these fucking animals, you know?
Do you think he just doesn't care?
Well, I saw a clip of him on Tucker talking about that, and he said, you know, like a year ago, his mom died. She was given, like, certain medications without his permission, and he's gonna, like, sue them. And, you know, he got very choked up talking about how she died in his arms and everything. So, and he said kind of just after that, having a bunch of little brats whine at me, it's like nothing. Right, nothing will ever even come close. So
he has a point of comparison. It's like, this is the real world. This is really what matters. This bullshit you people are screaming about, which you don't even know about.
Yeah.
You're just protesting.
Yeah.
For the sake of protesting, basically.
That really is what it is. It's just, that's exactly what it is. You know, they don't even know. They're just a white guy came to campus and he doesn't, so he must be a white supremacist. It's just ridiculous. But
well, let me just speak to that because, and I'll be very careful because my knowledge of the military and what was going on there in terms of some of this research and my knowledge of the colleges around Boston is I did not even know that BU was a player. Mm-hmm. To make a long story short, there were several considerations, and Northeastern was the one that they had identified, and they were going to secure that, build new facilities and buildings out of the way a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that's the last I heard about any of that research. So I thought that Northeastern had nailed it. I never would have dreamed that there would be right there in the heart of Boston. Although it's not. They're doing their part in the South End, which is your city hospital is. So the BU research facilities are all detached from the main campus.
Right.
Not even close.
Right.
So they're near Chinatown, near the highway and all of that. So it's out of the way, but still it's within city limits basically. So I've never heard that BU is big time into anything that might be connected to like the military or anything like that.
Yeah.
At all.
I mean, this is very recent too.
Yeah, it's very recent.
And it's better. It's classic. It's federal grant money to create a deadlier, more fucking spread. But how is no one in jail for this?
Right.
I just find it really disgusting, and it just feeds my conspiracy brain where I'm just like, oh yeah, 2020 really was just a fucking warm up, and the real plague is coming that will really scare the shit out of everyone, and then they'll be able to do whatever they want with us. Just my opinion. Hope it never fucking comes to pass. I would rather be crazy and fucking wrong than sane and right on this one,
I agree.
Well, we shall see, but I don't think, what my suspicion is, they'll wait till a Republican is president and then they'll fucking release it.
Probably.
Oh my god, I hope I never listen back to this clip and be like, oh fuck, prophecy.
Right.
I hope not, but we shall see.
I can only think back to the days of Long John Silver when he was the president at BU. Mm-hmm. That if something like this came along, he would be all over that. He would be volunteering for involvement. He would be very attracted to that sort of any kind of controversial research.
Who was Long John Silver?
Silber.
Silber.
He was the notorious president of BU for a while, who was kind of a renegade. It's hard to describe his politics. It's probably not extreme right, but leaned right. Certainly the opposite of most of the people in the Boston area. He tend to be liberal. He was not, and he Michael Dukakis, who was running for president. So Silber I can't remember. I think Silber buried him in an interview, which hurt his campaign.
Yeah.
And one of the Boston anchor women destroyed him in an interview. There were two people from his hometown that basically destroyed his presidential chances. Mm-hmm. And that was it for the Duke, as they called him. The Duke. But Silber was, I was on campus when he had the notorious BU5 fired and, thrown off campus, and they were radical professors, Howard Zinn, people like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. When was that? Because that is so it sounds like such a 180 to today.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Very long time ago.
Yeah. I don't really know. I'm really not very informed on the issue to know if he's right at all. But I remember this week hearing Jesse Kelly saying that if JFK was president today and you didn't tell him the party of the Democrats, you just explain what they were for, he's like, yeah, we have some commies we need to arrest and put in jail. Yeah. I really don't know anything about JFK, so I don't know if that's valid. Do you have a perspective on that?
I came in at this sort of tail end. I was just a young little kid when JFK was moving up the ranks. But the thought at the time, the general thought, about communism is I would definitely think that JFK was, no, we can't trust these commie bastards,
Yeah. Cuban Missile Crisis and all this shit, it was still very much the Cold War, you know? It's just a very different era, but whatever. If it's okay with you, I want to just pause this tape just for editing purposes and then move on to my alt-right witch hunt accusation.